Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Sometimes during the solo before my message, I'm thinking about my message. I do, and I'm going to work on that. And today, since I'm talking about being present, I thought, what if I don't do that? And I was so moved by that song and by Ken's incredible art that he shares, his spirit, his heart. Yeah. And how I've taken it for granted. I've been here for 13 years, and I've been hearing Ken Gale sing a lot of Sundays, and now I know, well, Ken's singing a great song, he's great. And today I got to experience you with new eyes, and it was so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. New ears. And that's the power of presence. That's what we're talking about today. This is part 3 of our 4-part series on the power of now by Eckhart Tolle. Reverend Stacy did a great job last week. I felt like after the hurricane, it wrapped us in your love. Beautiful message. And today we're talking about the state of presence. But I like a sermon joke. This is true, meaning that it came from the internet. Someone presented it as a first-person account. This older lady came to the bank I work at to withdraw $10, and I had to tell her that for withdrawals less than $1,000, she has to use the ATM. So then, without dropping a beat, she asked to withdraw $1,000 in $10 bills. It sucked, but as I counted it out and handed her the money, she took a 10 off the top, pushed the $990 back and said, "Please deposit this." It's my money, and I'm going to do what I want. So there are 3 points I'd like to share with you today on this topic of the state of presence. The first is, you're okay. You're okay. Yeah. Michael Singer says that all of spirituality, all of philosophy is just we're trying to get to the place of I'm okay. So we're going to do from the 1970s. I want you to say, I'm okay. And I want you to point at someone and say, you're okay. You're okay. Let's do it again. You're okay. You're okay. Right here and right now, there's nothing else you need to do, no place else you need to be. You're good. You're okay. The second point I want to make today is stay awake. Because I just confessed to you that I often do go to sleep. I often lose my sense of the present moment because I'm thinking about what's to come. And I don't think I'm the only one that does that. The second point is to stay awake. And the third point, this comes from our ancient wisdom, New Thought. You know, our teaching, our movement really started in the 1880s, 1890s, but all of the founders of the New Thought movement, including Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, who founded Unity, they went back to the oldest, deepest, truest teachings that were available from all the traditions. And so Michael Beckwith a few years ago coined this phrase, ancient wisdom, new thought. But my point of the third is wait upon the Lord. And we'll talk about that in a moment. So let's talk about you're okay. I'm okay. Oh, before I get into that, though, I feel like we need to mark the passing of a great soul and a great friend, a great leader and a great friend of this community. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee made her transition this week. She was on this stage many times for important moments in the life of this church. She was here for our 100th anniversary, presenting us a flag that had flown over the United States Congress, a congressional decree about our centennial as a church. A couple years before, she was here for Reverend Howard's last Sunday. And it was less than 2 weeks after Hurricane Harvey hit. And she stood on the stage and with tears in her eyes talked about the spirit of this city, talked about her gratitude for what this church was doing to help its people and to help the people of the city. So regardless of your political stance or affiliation, Sheila Jackson Lee was a great woman, a great leader, and a great friend. So let's just give her a moment of appreciation as we send our gratitude for her, and we send our deepest sympathies and condolences to her family and her close friends. Thank you, God, for Sheila. Thank you. The state of presence. If you can get present right now, you're going to realize you're okay. And this is true no matter what's going on in your life. You may be drawing your last breath, dying from an illness. It may be the very end. It may be the most traumatic moment of your life. But if you can just get truly present to what is, you're going to be okay. You're okay right where you are. And why do we know this? Because in unity, we teach unity. One power, one presence, one eternal life of God, of which we are its expressions and beloved children. That beyond all conditions, there is a truth of us that has never been harmed, that has never known lack, that has never known isolation or loneliness. The truest part of who we are is resting in the very heart of God. And if we can truly practice this state of presence, we will know this. Be still and know. This is the teaching that we offer. Eckhart Tolle, in this wonderful book, The Power of Now, from the beginning of this chapter, I like the conversation, the way he starts. It's always a question and then the answer. I don't remember what the question was on this one, but it was just, I think they were asking, how do you define presence? And he says this, or I think the question was, are presence and being the same thing? And this is what Eckhart wrote. Since being, consciousness, and life are synonymous, we could say that presence means consciousness becoming conscious of itself, or life attaining self-consciousness. From a dualistic perspective, we believe that we were created at birth or at conception, however you want to hold that. That's when our soul came into being. And then depending upon if we did the right prayers and lived in the right way, then after our bodies die, we go up or we go down. That is the traditional dualistic teaching of Christianity on the truest nature of human reality. Well, that's not what we teach here in Unity. We believe that we are essentially wholly and forever connected to the life of God. Before we took birth, after we lay these bodies down for all eternity, living in God. We are consciousness. That we, I believe, will move from incarnate form to incarnate form. Many here believe, most of us, I think, have had some experience or some version of reincarnation, that we're always going to be having an experience of life in form, but we're not the form, we're the essence. That's who we are. We are consciousness. And most of us in our human lifetimes have been unconscious to the fact that we are consciousness. We think we're our bodies. We think we're our jobs. We think we're our families. We think we're the approval we get from the world or the disapproval. That's what we think we are. But that's not who we are. We are consciousness, becoming conscious. That is the state of presence. So, as the whole book, and I will tell you, when I first got this book in the 90s, I was newly sober. I was not very good at the power of now. I'll just tell you that. I'm a type 3 on the Enneagram. I talk about that sometimes. I'm an achiever. I'm always like 3 steps ahead, moving to the next thing. I'm not looking at you, Phoebe Warren. I'm not, I promise. Former board president, who she shares my 3-ness. We like to get stuff done. And I had been trying to build a spiritual practice in my life, trying, but it just wasn't happening fast enough. And I got this book because everybody was telling me it's this great new book. I started reading it, and I'm like tearing through it. I'm just like, I'm going to have this book done in 2 days. And I realized that's not the way this is supposed to be done. And for the first time in my spiritual life, with a spiritual book, I decided to read 1 paragraph a day and just sit with it. Be present to it. By the end of that book, I was different because I had simply made the choice to practice this state of presence, to just not be thinking about the next 10 things I want to get to, but to be here Ram Dass was one to be here now, to just be here. And what I found was, I'm okay. One of the things that we threes do is that we can be chameleons. We can take on roles that people need us to do and do it successfully. We can be exactly what's needed. And so often in my life, I have spent thinking ahead to what they're going to need me to be, so I got to prepare to be that. So I'm always, up until now, sometimes, out in the future. But now, I'm okay, just as I am. Warts and all. I'm human. I make mistakes. You know about some of them. You're never going to know about all of them. But I'm okay with all that. And it is our worrying about what people are thinking, our worrying about what's going to happen, that takes us out of the presence. I think you said this last week, Stacy, but I've heard it, and I love it, that worry is meditation upon the negative. It's thinking about the thing we don't want to happen and thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. It's this circular thinking of what might happen. And when we live in turbulent times, which we all do right now, there is so much uncertainty out in the world. I was talking to my leadership coach, Jim Lockhart, this week, who was on this stage last year, and he was talking about James Hollis, the great Jungian writer. And James says that to be able to hold ambiguity and uncertainty is a hallmark of spiritual maturity. Yeah, that's not as fun as like manifesting new cars, is it? To have spiritual maturity means that it's uncertain what's going to happen with the election. It's uncertain what's going to happen with the environment. There's so much uncertainty in our world. And to be okay, I'm okay. Remember, you already said you were. I'm okay, even in this uncertainty. And here's where we're just going to say it in a way that maybe Eckhart quite doesn't, but he does in different language. We're okay because we're in God. We're okay because who and what we are is grounded and anchored in eternal, unshakable truth. So we can handle the uncertainty and the ambiguity of life because we know we're okay. And so I shared this 2 weeks ago, but I want to share it again. This has become part of my practice. This is from St. Teresa of Avila, who's a medieval mystic, and she says this: let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. All things are passing away. God never changes. Patience obtains all things. Whoever has God lacks nothing. God alone suffices. That's our ace in the hole. No matter what's going on in the world of form, we're okay because we have God. And if you don't like the word God, find a different one. It doesn't care. Spirit is a great one. Universe just isn't big enough for me because now we know we live in a multiverse of infinite number of universes. Omniverse, maybe, if that works for you. But that's the truth of who we are. And if we can stay present to the presence of God, we're always going to be okay. But we go to sleep. We forget. And so we start worrying. We start working. You know, Blaise Pascal, the French philosopher, I just heard this morning at 5:30 a.m. on a podcast with Marianne Williamson, but I'm going to share it. I love it. It says, Blaise Pascal said that all of humanity's problems are because of man's inability to sit quietly in a room. That's a big statement. People have a hard time sitting still. Did anybody else find that happening during the hurricane? I've got water pouring in my house. I have my roof flying off. And I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to move that hurricane. I wanted to stop it. I wanted to do something. I prayed, but evidently my prayer is not as big as the hurricane. And for the next, what day is it? The next 2 weeks, I've noticed that I've been wanting to fix everything now and make it perfect. And it's been a dickens of a time getting a roofer to come to my house. 2 o'clock today, he's going to be there. I'm going to sign a contract. It's going to happen. But it was really hard to just sit still. Wars have been fought because people couldn't sit still and recognize our common humanity. Think about that. The inequality that we see in the world is for the same reason. People are not able to sit still in the state of presence and recognize God is here in all people. And so people start doing things through our observed slights and injustices to go create more slights and injustices. And the cycle continues. So how do we stay awake? Well, first of all, I have a little Rumi, more ancient wisdom from the Sufi tradition. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. The Sufi mystics have a deep understanding of non-duality, that there is a greater reality than the nuts and bolts of this life. And if we can stay open and get to our deepest heart's desire, the door is round and open for us to move in these spiritual realms. What strategies do we use to not stay awake? Shall I share a couple of mine? Potato chips and baseball are good. There's something that I don't want to sit still and feel, so I'm going to find something to change the way I'm feeling. Numbing out and distraction. I'm going to keep watching baseball because I do love it. But I do recognize, thank you, girls, sometimes. The Astros are first place in the division today. That's all I'm going to say. It's early, we don't know, but go Astros. When we're feeling the uncertainty, the ambiguity, emotional pain even, the temptation is to find some way to numb it. Alcohol, sex, internet, TV, binging for hours, all of those ways that we numb ourselves out. Carbohydrates are great because I eat it and I feel different for a minute. So one of the ways to stay awake is to learn not to distract and to numb out, but just to simply be present. And then I want to talk for a moment about a strategy to get back to the truth of being, back to this state of presence, even when things are not great. And this is taking us into our third point, which is wait upon the Lord. But before I get to that, just as this stay awake point, I find beauty to be a great doorway back to God. Nature is a great doorway. To go sit by a beautiful old tree that hasn't fallen into somebody's house and just feel the connection. There is something grounded and beautiful in this world. The Platonic triad, although I did some research and we don't know this came from Plato, although he talked in the same ideas, the good, the true, and the beautiful. How can we focus our attention on that which is good and true and beautiful? Gratitude is always a great way to do that. I think baseball is beautiful, so that's what I do. But finding the way, and this is the way it's written in the Philippians. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think on these things. Those of you who have been blessed with grandchildren, think of the way the top of that baby's head smelled the first time you held it in your arms. The good, the true, the beautiful. Think about these things, and that will bring us back to being awake to what is here and knowing that we are okay. But what if we wake up, we stay present to what is here, and it sucks? It's true. Thank you, Michelle. It's true. Sometimes we always talk about, we just need to get present and we'll be okay. Just get present, be here and now. I'm here now, and there's a hurricane blowing my roof off. It ain't good. I'm here now and I can't stop drinking. I'm here now and my mother is dying. I'm here now and I have no job and no money. How do we do that? I'm here now and there was an assassination attempt on a presidential candidate in my country. How do we move into this state of presence in times of pain and struggle? There is great wisdom in the ancient teachings, as I said. And this is what Eckhart Tolle wrote about this idea of waiting upon the Lord. I don't know why I just smacked my lips. It's not that good. Maybe it is. In a sense, the state of presence could be compared to waiting. Jesus used the analogy of waiting in some of his parables. This is not the usual bored or restless kind of waiting, that is a denial of the present, and that I spoke about already. It is not a waiting in which your attention is focused on some point in the future, and that present is perceived as an undesirable obstacle that prevents you from having what you want. This is a qualitatively different kind of waiting, one that requires your total alertness. Something could happen at any moment. If you are not absolutely awake, absolutely still, you will miss it. This is the kind of waiting that Jesus talks about. In that state, all of your attention is in the now. When we wake up and we're present and there is pain, I will tell you this from my years of addiction and years of trying different ways other than being present in the now. Your avoidance of the pain increases the pain. Your fear of the pain is more difficult than the pain itself. The fear that would drive us to numb and distract. To be present and know that something will emerge here. I don't know what it is. I've not been following the temptation to be on the news cycle every hour, every day with this presidential election. I'm just not doing it. I can't. It takes away my peace too much. Now, I do check the news every day. I read articles I think are going to give me some information I need. But people are coming up with all sorts of theories and stories and solutions about what needs to happen between now and November 2nd, 4th, 5th, whatever it is, that first Tuesday in November. And they're getting themselves worked into a state by stuff that is not clear yet. But something is emerging. I have a sense that what we're experiencing in our world right now is it's a shift in collective consciousness that might even be similar to what happened in the 18th century with the French and American revolutions. You know, the American Revolution said, we have a better idea than the nobility of the kings and queens ruling over everybody else. We have a better idea. It's about freedom, equality, and justice. We're going to try that. Now, we can criticize that it was not inclusive as it should have been. But it was a step forward in human consciousness. And guess what? The British Empire didn't say, you're right, that's a better idea, go for it. Did they? They said, no, our way is better, we're going to fight you. And so the American Revolution occurred. I don't want to get into the French Revolution. And I'm hoping that we're able to make this leap to the next level of human collective consciousness without bloodshed. I don't know. But I do know this, consciousness is evolving and something is emerging now. And so as I'm looking at the news cycles, as I'm looking at the news, as I'm taking it all in, I just keep saying, I'm watching it, I'm aware, I'm here now, but something is emerging and I don't know what it is yet. So I don't have to go down there and get myself all worked up because of something that might happen. If this person wins, or if this person wins. I don't have to do that. Or if this person runs, or this person runs. I don't have to do that. Now, when the time comes for me to do something, I'll know. I learned this years ago. I don't know that I was taught it. I just realized that I can, because I'm such a forward-leaning person, get myself so worked up, I somehow learned that if I can just wait, until the moment the decision is needed, I'll have more information. I'll actually have what I need to know to make that decision when it's time to make that decision. And until then, I'm just making myself sick with worry and stress. Wait upon the Lord. Be okay. Don't go back to sleep. And this is the way that the ancient writer of Isaiah put it. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. He will not grow weary or tired. And his understanding no one can fathom. God gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even the youths grow tired and weary. Even young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord, those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. So my invitation to all of us as a spiritual community during these turbulent times is that we hold on to God and we hold on to each other. And we're going to get through this. Stay awake with me. I love you. Let's pray. We close our eyes, but we become more awake in this prayer because we take our attention away from the outer circumstances and into the heart, into the cave of the heart, as the Sufis call it, that place within us that has never known anything but the good of God, the deepest truth of who we are. And in this space, in this truth of unity, of oneness with all that is, with all divine creativity, all divine love. If only there was only love, there is only love. This is the nature of reality. And in this truth, I declare, I speak my word for the United States of America, that the emergence of the highest good for all, for divine right order, is being revealed even through the division and the discord. Something greater is coming. In the lives of everyone here who is going through some pain, some struggle, some suffering, good is here and is emerging now. And I see that we're committed to being awake, committed to remembering that despite all circumstances and conditions, I'm okay. We're okay. We're waiting upon the Lord, renewing our strength, rising up on wings like eagles. And for this community, unity of community with its leaders, with its volunteers, with all those who contribute in any way to keep the doors open, to keep this beautiful work going for another century or another year, we're here together and we say yes. We are a part of this emergence of something good. We don't know what it's going to look like, but it is going to be good. Use me, God, to be a part of the delivery of your good in my church. Healing is here. Wholeness is here. Abundance is here. Joy is here. Peace is here. We await its perfect emergence in every form. We let it be. And so it is. Amen. I really like letting other people up here sometimes, but it's sure good to come back. I have things to tell you sometimes. And the main thing I want to tell you is I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know how lonely or cut off you might have been. But if no one has told you today that they love you, I love you. God bless you.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.